Music industry secrets. Music industry secrets. Music industry secrets. Spill.
Hello, and welcome to this brand new podcast, Music Industry Secrets Spilled, with me, your host, Lucy May Walker. Hi, welcome in. On this episode, I am joined by the amazing Beth McCarthy. So Beth is a pop artist who went viral this year on TikTok. If you're on the platform already, you've probably already seen the video of her crying in her car to her own song, She Gets the Flowers. Just last month, she supported Sigrid. There's a lot of really exciting things happening for this amazing woman who I'm so proud to call a friend. We had a brilliant chat on this episode about TikTok, trends, algorithms, how to successfully network with people. And I took quite a lot from that bit. So thank you, Beth, for that. We spoke about branding, dealing with trolls, pre-saves. We cover a lot. So I really hope you can take something from this episode. I know personally I was inspired talking to Beth, so I hope you are too. So yeah, let's go for it. Here is Music Industry Secrets Spilled with this week's guest, Beth McCarthy.
Spill.
Here we go. I first heard of Beth McCarthy a very long time ago when she was a contestant on The Voice when she was just 16 years old. She sang Sexy and I Know It in her blind audition, and she got a turn from both Kaiser Chiefs' Ricky Wilson and the Kylie Minogue. Since then, she's been making quite the name for herself in music, particularly weirdly from 2020 onwards. Here's some impressive stats for you. Beth has over 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, over 1 million views on one music video alone on YouTube, 41,000 Instagram followers. This is so crazy. And 200, I can't even say this number, 255,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok is the platform that we're going to talk about today because it really took her to the next level. So Beth McCarthy, welcome to Music Industry Secrets Spilled.
Whoop whoop, thank you for having me.
Did you like my intro?
It was such a good intro. I've never felt more special in my life, to be honest.
I've never really said those big numbers out loud before, and I had to like write them out. How do I say this?
Literally, the writing the numbers has been the bane of my life for the last 6 months because I'm like, I don't know what this means.
It's a nice problem to have.
It is.
Okay, let's kick right into this. So yeah, this is a podcast all about like tips and tricks on how artists can be as successful as people like you. So, Beth,
Me.
in 2020, your career skyrocketed after you started uploading videos to TikTok. So tell us a little bit about your TikTok journey. What made you join? How did it all start? And how quickly did you start blowing up?
Sure. So yeah, my TikTok journey was a bit of a random one that wasn't really that intentional. Obviously, it came up and got popular in lockdown, didn't it? Everybody was on TikTok, and that was the thing to do. And I was on it as a watcher and as a consumer rather than as someone who made stuff. I did a couple of little cover videos, but I didn't really get it. I was like, I'm too old for TikTok. I'm not 15, so I'm too old.
And you're not even old at all.
I'm not. I'm literally 24. Like, I'm not old, but it felt like I was. And then basically I was just busking in London, it was sort of between lockdowns. It was that weird November-y lockdown that wasn't really a lockdown but kind of was. And I went out busking in Central at Piccadilly Circus, and nobody was really going out because they weren't sure if they were allowed. So I had this pitch for quite a lot of the day, which never ever happens in Central. And I had just been playing the day. It was amazing. I was so happy. Loads of people were coming up because obviously everybody was just so ready to hear live music again.
Yeah.
That I just had so much of a good response from people. And then this lady came up and was like, "Can I just film you and ask you what's one reason why you're happy today?" And I was just like, yeah, I'm really happy today because I'm singing again and it's the best thing ever. Okay. And she was like, cool, can I film you singing? I was like, yes. And then she filmed me singing and just went away. And then later that day, I just was getting loads of TikTok followers. I was like, I don't use TikTok. I have no content on there. Like I
No
deleted
way.
everything that I had on there. So it was literally just an account. I'm like, why are people following me? Where is this coming from? And it was because this video was on a page called One Reason Why or something. And it just blew up. And it was basically she'd go around to one person every day in London and ask them a reason why they're happy today. And I just happened to be that person that day. So then she asked me, I think it did like 200,000 views overnight, which
Wow.
was the first time I'd ever seen like numbers like that before, that quickly. And I was just like, right, okay, I need to use this. I need to get on this.
Done.
Already had a bit of an idea of what I wanted to do with TikTok. I knew that I wanted to like do something a little bit more creative with trends that were already existing. So I wanted to try and make my own out of what was going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how, like whether it was going to be to cover the songs that were trending or to like do sort of semi movements of the trends or something, like not dancing, but try and incorporate them. Just try to be clever with it, but I wasn't really sure yet. And I was just like, you know what? I need to go for it. And then I did. And then it all just took off from there.
Wow, I really thought that you knew about that video because I think that must have been the first thing I saw on TikTok. In fact, I wasn't on TikTok at the time. I think you must have shared it on Instagram. And I just assumed that you were already big on TikTok and then that happened and it blew. Like that is what a way
That's what
to
started it.
start. Oh,
I
amazing.
know. Which was nice because it was so organic. And I think that honestly is probably going to come up quite a lot in this conversation, is just that so much of what has really taken for me recently is, as much as people don't look at TikTok and think organic, like it all just feels very kind of, I don't know, like it's TikTok, isn't it? People
Yeah.
expect it to have these behind the scenes things going on. A lot of it's set up, and it is, but actually, some of the things that do the best are the organic moments. And for me, like throughout all of this, from TikTok to moving into the music that I've released, it's all been so organic that it's been really nice. But it's definitely a running theme through everything.
Yeah, I find that because I've put some videos together. I definitely tried to copy your rewrite thing, and I was like, right, it's working for Beth. I'm gonna do it. Well, mine flopped, and then I did a video about. Well, it's got nothing to do with music. It was all about like being socially anxious and like pushing yourself to do stuff, and that's got like 3.5 million views on it, and it took me like 2 minutes to make. So
it's ridiculous, right?
So
It's so annoying because you're like, great, I've got this thing that works now and I know it will, and then it doesn't, and you're like, okay.
Do you find the ones like, for me, I notice the ones that do best for me is they do really well straight away. Like it's not like a slow burner on TikTok. Is that?
Yeah. And I think if they do well straight away, they have better algorithms, and then they do better down the line. Actually, interestingly, I woke up today and at the top of my TikTok thing, it's like, your original sound is trending. Over 1,000 people are using your sound, and it's one of my rewrites of July that I did months and months ago.
Wow.
It's like, where do you find these things? Like, I find people liking my old videos. I'm like, how is this going through the algorithm again? I don't understand.
You're lucky because yours are all music based, whereas mine are like food based. I need to make anyway.
Listen, Lucy, food. Everyone loves food. I think you own that.
I know, but I'm not going to sell any records doing that.
You might do. Sell a cookbook at the same time. You'll be fine.
Yes. So yeah, I know we've just said it's all like really organic, but have you found that anything in particular does seem to work with like going viral? Like, are there certain hashtags that people should be doing, or any tips?
I really, really wish I could tell you that there was. I really do. But if I knew, I would be doing amazing videos day in, day out, and they're not. Like at the moment, my TikTok has kind of pulled back again. It's definitely not doing the numbers that it was when I started. And I don't know if that's anything to do with the algorithm or with like the way that people are consuming it now, because obviously my TikTok took in lockdown when people were on it all the time, whereas people are getting on with life now. And I think all of these outside sort of factors are worth taking into account when you're thinking about doing anything like this, because life is not structured really for a lot of people, and so these online platforms kind of can't be either. So for me, I guess like I just try as many different things as possible and hope for the best. It's a funny one because you want to come up with original and creative ideas, but at the same time, certain things work. For example, the car thing. Why we all sit in our cars?
What is that?
I have no idea. I only did it because other people were doing it. So I only went and sat in my car because I was like, every songwriter TikTok I scroll past is someone sat in their car. And I think it probably originated from the idea that it has a big speaker that you don't need to worry about. So like people who don't have a home set up with speakers can play their music really loud and have it in the video, and it works. I kind of get that. But it's just become a thing. And
It's so weird.
even like somebody that I was speaking to about releasing and about the industry and whatever, who's like in the industry, was like, I am baffled by this idea of the car. Why people in the car? Why is that the only place people can listen to music now? I was like, yeah, I know, I don't know. But that does work. And that kind of setting, I think maybe subconsciously makes people think, okay, this is a video that I've seen before. For somebody else doing it, you know, this is something that I know what to expect, so I'll either stay or I'll go. And if they go, it's probably because they don't like that kind of video.
Yeah.
But if they've stuck around, it's because they like it, and then that helps you because you're being put out to the right people. And that's the only logic I can really put to stuff like that, is that if you are following a little bit of a trend that's like an inner trend that people just seem to be doing a lot, it's kind of like, okay, people know what to expect with that, and so they'll stick around.
I think you did really well with the car thing as well. I don't know if you've done like more than one probably, but the one for She Gets the Flowers, you were like, even though you're doing a format that's already out there, you were like crying your eyes out. I didn't see any others that were ugly crying.
So this is the thing, and this goes,
beautiful crying.
thank you. Well, but this goes back to the organic thing, is that I was scrolling through a TikTok and people would be like, I've written the perfect song for you to cry to when you're in your car at 3 a.m. And then they'd be like, whoa, here's my song. Like, I'm going to act it all out. And I was like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I don't, like, if you're not crying to your song, then I'm not going to cry. And I was like, if I'm going to do anything like that, I need it to be a real moment for me with this song. And I know the, like, emotion that I feel when I listen to this, I know that the emotion that I feel like I want people to feel. And so on from that, I kind of need to really be honest and take that and have a real moment with it. And I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to live with myself. Never mind it do well, because I can't. I hate the stuff. I'll do it because you just do. But I don't like the kind of acted out moments really that much. And I just needed a moment where it was like, this is real. And that's what people connect with. They like real emotion, don't they?
Yeah.
It was very real.
I loved it. It's not nice to see you crying, but yeah, it makes you.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes. I definitely like wanted to hear more. So I think another thing that makes your videos stand out to me is like how professional they are. So you can tell that you've put like loads of effort into like recording the audio, and then you don't just like roll out of bed and film it. You've definitely like made a lot of effort to make it look aesthetically pleasing, especially with your whole pink brand.
The aesthetic. Tell
us about I guess it's your branding now. Is that a really conscious thing that you do?
It's I mean, I don't own any clothes that are not pink or white. Like, and that's not even a joke. My housemates take the piss out of me all the time, because I'll put my washing out and it's like some music video like in the garden on the thing, like literally just sheets of pink. And And I kind of did that. I mean, I guess it started with the hair. I was blonde, like bleach blonde before. I had to cut it all off because I bleached it to death. And then I just gradually started playing with like having a little bit of color in there, a little bit of pink. Like I went a kind of more gingery. Yeah, and then it just gradually got more intense. And I was like, you know what? I want to be pink and I want it to be half and half. I don't really know why I came up with the half and half thing, but I wanted it to be one shade darker on the other side. And I just thought that would be cool because, and to be honest, I've always loved branding, even from the Voice days, which I rarely talk about now. But like, there was a very conscious branding decision for me when I was on the Voice because I wore a hat, and I wore this like fedora hat thing, and then I literally had a different one through every round.
Yeah.
And then for that whole festival season afterwards, I wore a hat.
Yeah.
And I knew that if no one knew who I was, if they like went up to somebody afterwards and was like, oh, who was that girl that played that stage? There's going to be loads of girls that play the stage, but it's like, oh, who's the girl in the hat? It's more than likely going to be me, or at least it'll whittle it down. And so it was literally just a decision to be like, okay, I know that is going to help my identity. And obviously that ends up being really obviously branding. But at the time it was just like, okay, people are going to maybe find it easier to know who I am there. And I love live. I love playing shows. I was doing a lot of festivals. So like, and I wanted to be in a position where if people hadn't got a chance to speak to me or I didn't catch my name, there would be something that they can identify about me then. So I think it's just like always been in there and always been something that I wanted to do. And so it's ended up just being this massive pink overload, which it has become a thing. And I guess as well, for me, if I was always wearing pink and there was always something pink about me, I can always make content and it will always match my aesthetic. Like I don't need to worry about having a day where like I need to do this on this day and I will dress in this way. Like I'll always just match what I want to look like.
Yeah.
And so then if I'm out and about and something happens and I want to get a picture or if there's something cool, whatever, I'll always have an identity,
Always
even if
on
it's on
brand.
life, always on brand.
That's so clever as well. It's like quite often you'll recognize someone's face, especially on TikTok. It can be one of those things where you might follow them or you just see their videos a lot. So your kind of face is also your brand, like, and maybe they wouldn't recognize your name on like a poster, but they will recognize your face. So you might be able to like sell tickets just literally off your whole look, which is it's very clever.
Well, this is it. Like, no, but honestly, it's like that's exactly, you've hit the nail on the head. Like people, I rarely recognize people's names, but you do think faces or aesthetic or whatever, and like obviously everybody knows. If you think about all the people you really really like Miley's got her thing with her like mullet and her like cool. You kind of know what her vibe is. Billie Eilish has her thing. Dua Lipa even, like it's the kind of, at the moment, the era that she's in has all that nostalgia in there. Like everybody has a thing that you sort of subliminally think about them. So if you can create it, it's definitely worth doing. I mean, I was at Latitude. I played a little stage at Latitude this year. It wasn't kind of a big one, but I was there. Okay, I was there when I played it.
I've been there.
And yeah, and I was literally by the toilets waiting for my friends, and some girl came up. She's like, "Oh my god, I love your song. OMG, did she call a baby?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." She's like, "I recognise you from the hair. I follow you on TikTok." So it works,
I need to find my thing. I might come back to you on that.
I feel like you do have a thing, like the glasses. That like I feel like I know your vibe immediately when I see you on like a poster or anything, because you do have a thing. I think everybody has a little thing underneath it all, and it just depends how overtly thing you want to be, right? I've just taken my thing to a stupid extreme, but not everyone has to do it. As long as you've got something that kind of creates consistency, I think it's fine.
Amazing. Let's talk about pre-saves, because I read that your last single, She Gets the Flowers, had 60,000 pre-saves. Wow. Yeah. I guess people don't really talk about numbers, but I don't know where I read that, probably on your Spotify, I think.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know that was like, I think I got about 500 and I was like, this is amazing. 60,000.
Mate, I'd never even looked at pre-saves before. Like, I never even had it as a thing, because usually I'm a little bit too chaotic for that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm putting a song out tomorrow. Here you go. I think I've done that for the last like 3 songs, because things just, that's the one issue, and not issue clearly, but like the one thing with TikTok is the preparation is very difficult to create, because obviously that flowers moment was really, it was already set to release like 2 weeks after that, and I put that video out, but that blew up with no real intention of it blowing up. So then when you turn around and you're like, oh my gosh, I need like everything in place, like I need a link and I need this and I need that, it's quite difficult. So yeah, the flowers pre-saves were absolutely bonkers, and I'm pretty sure like anyone I've talked to about it are kind of mind blown by that in itself, because it doesn't really happen even for not major artists, but like artists that are on major labels that you kind of are sort of working their way through the ranks. That doesn't even happen for them a lot of the time. Like but it shows the power of TikTok.
Yeah.
That was all TikTok. That was not like anything else but that TikTok video that blew. And then the couple that I did after that, obviously, just be like, this is happening. Like, that's it.
Wow. Because you got like 100,000 streams in the first weekend, and that was obviously not just down to the pre-saves, but most of it is that. So it made me realize like how I knew pre-saves were important, but when I saw those stats, I was like, that's why it's so important, because then people will,
it immediately drops into their thing.
Yeah,
it just
so
is
good.
It's there, and you'll immediately get those numbers straight off the bat, and then that's supposed to and hear me, supposed to make it do better in like playlists and whatever. Flowers got next to no editorial support.
That's
so
mental.
The majority of the streams are organic, which is
brilliant,
amazing, and love. But don't you think it's bonkers how does it even work? Because all of that, what we've just talked about, and this, I talk about flowers as if it's actually disconnected from me. It actually doesn't feel like it's mine. So for me, it's like a interesting like point of conversation, because it is just its own thing. It did so well, and those pre-saves added on to like the video doing so well, added on to like there was outside stuff that was doing well as well as the streaming, my TikTok doing well at the time. Like all of those things surely would accumulate to having some editorial support from the platforms. And I know it got on Sad Bops on Spotify, and it got on Heartbreak Pop on Apple Music, and I think there was one other on Apple Music. And I know the exact people who got it onto those 3 playlists.
Oh, really?
So, and yeah, because of one of the guys that was helping me at the time, who was great, Stephen Melrose, he had a couple of contacts at kind of Spotify and Apple. Obviously can't say do this, but he can push it and say, listen, this is what she's doing. And they're like, yeah, this is great. And then they then put it on the playlist. But on from that, there was nothing else. No New Music Friday. Like I don't understand.
I would love to know, like, because I've got on a couple of playlists, and I'm not really sure what it is. I don't really get it.
No one knows.
I've got another guest coming on, called Kate McGill. She's from the band Meadowlark, and I'm going to ask her, because I think she's on 6 Spotify playlists. A lot of them are covers, but I'm really interested to know what the secret is.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. What I will say is that I don't think anyone really knows. And what I'm discovering in like the more people I talk about things with now, and with the new music like coming out, and I've had a huge thing is like who I'm going to distribute through recently, because I felt like my support wasn't really there through the last song, despite how huge it was doing kind of organically. So I wanted to shift and figure out who the best person to go through was, and blah blah. And it just turns out that everyone's just like, no one has direct, that they'll promise you like, oh, we pitch to DSPs and we have these relationships with these people and da da da. No one can do anything. Like, there'll be something that makes you get on them, but I feel like at this stage we are not in control of that. Like, it doesn't matter who you go with or what you do. It's a world slightly bigger than me and I think most other like independent artists. It's bigger than us.
Also, you've got millions of streams without needing the Spotify playlist, and actually it's much better to have the streams without the playlist, because I've got a song that's got 500,000 streams, and that I know that's because it was on a playlist. I know I don't have 500,000 fans, whereas you do.
Yeah, and you're right, it's amazing. I think it's that thing, isn't it? You always want what you can't have.
Yeah.
Because playlists look great industry wise. Like for industry, there's like boxes you need to tick when you're speaking to people and you want to impress them, and it's like having these playlists and these numbers and this press, and I'm like, it's just bonkers the things that people are sucked into. Like for me, press does nothing. Like for me, is that translates into numbers and ticket sales. Yeah. I don't read music blogs. Who reads music blogs? None of us. Like we don't. Literally, who reads them? So then, but then that is the one thing I was like missing off the back thing. No one knew about me or anything that I was doing who was on the industry side. So like since then, I've spoken to people and they're like, I don't understand how I never knew like about you. And I'm like, because it just happened, and it was nothing to do with anyone in the industry. It just happened from TikTok and me and the song, and that's not an issue, but it's definitely something that people look for. It's like that sort of thing. So you need to find that. You need to strike the balance, because as you say, I think I would definitely take the fans of my music. I mean, that's what we do it for. So like having my kind of monthly listeners haven't really dropped until really recently, and they've not dropped. They're slowly fizzling now, obviously because people have done the songs. But
you have a new single coming out, and by the time this is out, it will be out. So fingers crossed. Like you've probably timed that perfectly. As it dips, you'll put something else out, and then fingers crossed. Yeah. Do you know how many pre-saves you've got on that so far?
I don't actually. I need to check, because they have so I'm going through a company called Lab Records, and they're a record label, but kind of it's a sort of almost stepping stone between distribution and like label. It's almost like an artist services type thing. And it feels good because there's a team there. I still don't have management. I have every other team member, but I don't have management. And so to have that team to kind of push and organize is exactly what I need at this point in time. So it's kind of worth the give and take that you get with any kind of deal, because ultimately I can focus on like the creative, which is what I love, and doing the bits of socials that I need to do, and they can do the press, and they can do the like pitching, and they can do whatever. And they're really on it as well. I can just go to them and go like, this is what's happening, like this is something that's going on, this is what the song's about, and they can just take that to the right places, and that's cool. So hopefully it'll be, I reckon it's just a funny one when something does really well. And I dread to think what like Ed Sheeran feels like, having to one up everything that you do, because you do feel like that as an artist, where you're like, this next thing needs to be bigger than the last one. And on one hand, the last one was really big, so like yay for me. On the other hand, like, what do I do now? That was such a big jump. Like, I've not had a jump like that before, so how do I follow it?
The pressure. I don't know, I guess try not to think too much about numbers, and just, it's all like a big journey. And God, it's really hard, because I'm exactly the same. I'm like, why hasn't this song got as many streams as the other one? This is a better song. But I guess it's that organic thing that some songs just work, some don't as well. But yeah, I've got one more question about TikTok before we move on.
Okay.
How do you deal with trolls?
So
Help.
this is a good question. Now, okay, so funnily, for TikTok, I've not been as heavily affected by trolls as I have on Instagram, interestingly.
Oh.
And Instagram Reels specifically. So I did a rewrite of a Taylor Swift song of Love Story called Self Love Story. And it's basically like from the perspective of the best friend of the person who's been dumped.
Romeo, trust me, you'll be
Yeah.
better off alone. No,
Exactly.
not Romeo.
No, it's Juliet, trust me.
Juliet,
Now, this
sorry.
is important. You know why it's important? Because the amount of men I had commenting on that video on Instagram saying, "Where's the Romeo version? We want a Romeo version." And then, but it got so bad, Lucy, because it did very well on Instagram Reels. It did I think it must be on 20 million views now. That little snippet on Instagram Reels has 20 million views.
Sorry, that we've been talking so much about numbers that was okay.
Yeah, cool.
Wow.
20 mil it's a lot, right? And it went off in India in a big way. I don't know. I think they don't get TikTok in India, so I think that it sort of went into that world a little bit because they're like, oh my god, yes, we want this, because we're just constantly consuming it, and they don't get it as much. So it went off in India, and there were a lot of comments from men that were so sexist and so misogynistic, and oh, women are only good for this, women are only good for having children, and how is she going to have children if she doesn't have a Romeo? Honestly, I found that really, really difficult, because I don't care if you want to come for me personally, because I've been dealing with it since I was 16. Go on one of the voice videos and scroll through the comments. It's actually a joke. For people to say that on a video of a girl who was at the time 16 years old, I just think is honestly disgusting. I can look at it now and I'm disconnected, I don't care. But if I look at it with my adult person brain on, I'm like, I'm sorry. Who do you think you are? That's awful. But I've dealt with it, and it's just something that you deal with as you go through the industry, isn't it? You have to, as you will know, just deal with people saying crap to you. But it's when people say uneducated things, or things that completely go against my views or morals, that's when I struggle to not say anything. Because I don't get, if you want to say you can't sing, or if you want to say you're ugly, or your teeth are weird, or whatever they like to pick on about me.
I love your teeth.
Thank you. Apparently they're weird.
No, they're amazing.
I don't care, because I've learned to love myself by this point. So I don't care if you want to insult it, because I'm fine. It's the picking on stuff, it's the being misogynistic side of stuff, or it's the stupid comments that are clearly uneducated and don't make any sense. They're what irritate me. My way of dealing with it, I delete them.
Brilliant. Yeah, we had this discussion, didn't we?
Yeah, because why should you keep them? I don't know why there's a stigma around deleting comments. Mm-hmm. Somebody had said that on something. It's oh, did you delete the bad comments on this? That's disappointing. I actually hadn't deleted any bad comments on that video. I just didn't have any. But I was why is that disappointing? It's my content that I spent time creating. I have put a lot of work into this. Why would I be okay with people using it as a space to be negative? Go, if you want to be negative, go do it somewhere else. Not on my content that I spent time doing. Yeah. And it's my profile. I own it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
See you later.
I think I used to think that maybe if I was looking at someone else's and they started deleting comments, maybe I think I had that view as well, as oh wow, they're deleting comments. But maybe that was because they were doing something wrong. When you're not doing anything wrong and people like expressing their opinion. Like I did a slightly controversial thing, and I won't go into it, but I had someone like messaging saying like, "Oh, I've really like changed my mind about you. I can't believe you do this." Blah blah blah. This guy messaged me because I did exactly that. I deleted their comment, and then the guy messaged me and was like, "You're deleting your comment. Like I've really like my opinion of you has gone downhill." And I said exactly the same thing. I shouldn't have even responded to this person because I didn't deserve a response, but
Yeah.
I felt like I had to defend myself, and I messaged him back and was like, well, the reason why I've deleted it is because you're being really negative on a really positive thing. But I think also by me messaging that person back just made me more angry, whereas if I just deleted his message as well, I would have just like not been affected by it. So
Exactly.
delete.
It is delete, honestly. And I know that they say, I know that that's the thing, isn't it? That everybody says if you're talking about social media and people being mean, it's like delete, block, yada yada. And there was a long time where I didn't. And it's almost like there's something about sitting in the like negativity where it's like it's attention and it's bad attention, but you kind of feel a bit victimy. And I think as humans, we all like to feel like a victim every now and again. Like sometimes I like to feel sorry for myself. Like, so if someone's being mean to me and everyone can see it, I'm like, I'm just gonna leave that so everyone knows how hard my life is. But it is negative, and I'm exactly like you. It makes me more angry when I actually get into the conversation. There was a guy, a same sort of thing happened, but not of the same subject as you. But I was literally posting about my single, and this was like mid-flowers, and I was buzzing in everything I posted, every story, everything. And some bloke like who I'd met once busking commented on it, being like, "Oh, Beth, this is just quite pathetic that you are clearly hurting inside," something like that. Like you're clearly like upset inside, and that and you're just putting on this fake smile. Get a grip, get a grip. And I was infuriated because I was like, who do you think you are coming to me and saying that I'm any of these things? I'm not. I'm having the best time of my life right now. So no, and for you to respond like that, and I ended up messaging him, and it just got worse and worse because like I actually voice noted him because I was like, I'm actually so angry, I don't have the energy to type, so I'm going to voice note you. Thanks for your concern, but if I actually did have any problems, I would speak to my actual friends, and you are not one. So don't come for me like that. And just to put your mind at ease, I'm actually really fine. I'm the most successful I've ever been right now, and I'm actually loving it. So leave me alone. And he was like, I can hear your radio training in your voice. Like, but just tried to completely undermine everything I'd said, and that I was lying. Like, tried to basically say I was lying and that I'd taken it in the wrong way, because he was just looking out for me as a friend. I'm like, you're not my friend, though.
Yeah, I bet you want.
You're not my friend. You're literally a like 65-year-old man who I met once who lives on the internet. Like, not my friend. Not my friend.
So
but yeah, so it's your own.
Don't message them back.
Don't message them. It makes it worse. It makes it worse.
Yeah,
Don't message them.
Completely agree. Thank you. Wow, that was a really long-winded answer, but I think people will appreciate. Listen, sorry, they'll appreciate hearing that, because they might look at your profile and be like, "Oh, she doesn't get any hate. It's just she does. She just deletes it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People like to know that, like, oh, okay, she's not perfect. Although I do think you are. Anyway, moving on from TikTok. The other week, I don't know when it was now, but a few weeks ago, I was very lucky to get on the guest list to see Sigrid at Lafayette in London. And then on the day of, you were like, I'm supporting Sigrid. I was so happy, like it was sold out and everything. So I felt so lucky to be able to like witness that happen for you. Like I felt so proud. Like, how did that happen? Tell us everything.
Honestly, it was such a random one. So, like, just as a little, very brief backstory as to where I'm at, I basically came to London at the beginning of 2020, right before lockdown.
Really good timing, by the way.
Honestly, it was the best timing. I've been waiting for it for years, and I was like, now's the time. And then the world broke, so good for me. But my intention was that I would come to London and build a team and work with new producers and stuff that were more in the pop world, because I hadn't really found somebody that would work with me in the right way yet. And then obviously lockdown happened, so I couldn't get in those rooms that I wanted to get into, because no one was in any rooms other than their own bedroom. And then I kind of was back and forth between York and London through that lockdown period. I went back to my mum and dad's in York, and then I came back to London for a bit, and then got more work in York, and it was that whole thing. And obviously over that time the TikTok thing started happening, so then I was starting to have conversations with labels, and like people were popping up and coming out of the woodwork and whatever, which was great. But what was interesting was, like, obviously I would have a bit of interest from labels, but I had no real foundation yet, so I didn't really have anybody to help guide through those conversations that was secure. Don't get me wrong, I have some amazing people around me who I've worked with for years, and there were people around me when I had Flowers, a guy called Ben Reynard, this Stephen Melrose. I had people who were there pushing the song with me, but they weren't any official capacity of my team. They were just like, this is happening for you, we're here, like, we believe in you, here you go, and sort of gave me a leg up when I needed it. But having those conversations, it was almost like it almost took off too soon in a way, for it to really tangibly go anywhere, because I didn't have a team set. And so then through all this, I've had introductions with people. I got myself a booking agent, a Paradigm. I actually have two that work together. And then I got introduced to a lady at Live Nation called Kelly Chappell. She's a Geordie, and she's amazing.
Oh, nice.
And we went for coffee and just spoke about music, and she's just really passionate about helping women and just helping artists that she believes in. And she was great, and she's like, listen, I've got you, you're my girl, you're northern, we're good. Anything that comes up that I think you might be good for, I'll let you know, or I'll try and do whatever. And then I just got a message from her the night before, are you in town tomorrow? And I was like, okay,
Can be.
yes. Obviously I don't know what this is for, but yes. Why? She's like, I might have a little solo gig for you. So just if you're around, keep it free, I'll let you know. And then I was like, this could be anything. This could be a teeny tiny thing. This could be a huge thing. I actually don't know, because Live Nation cover everything. And I was just sitting there going, please tell me what it is. Please tell me what it is. And then later on, I was like, listen, I've got some house viewings tomorrow. So do you think it's going to go ahead? Because I will cancel them. And she's like, oh, do what you need to do, but I'm trying to make it work for you. But I don't know yet. They just need to figure out if this other support is actually doing it or not.
Yeah.
And it ended up that basically the original support pulled out because they were ill. It wasn't COVID, and she thought she was going to be able to do it. But because Sigrid was playing Reading and Leeds that weekend, they wanted it completely illness free as much as they could. So then she didn't do it, and I was brought in. Basically, I think the evening it was being passed around a couple of people to be like, these are our options, who would you like? And my link got passed to their team, and they were like, yeah, we'll have her. So I got a message at 2 a.m. from Kelly being like, okay, can you do the show? And then I was asleep, and so I woke up
Obviously.
to 4 texts being like, wake up, can you do the show? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I can do the show. She's like, it's Sigrid. So then, just
So you
pulled
didn't
together.
know
No.
Sigrid until, so were you like Googling like what gigs were on and stuff?
I was just like, I'm just gonna have to, because I didn't know what, like, I didn't know. And I had no idea where it even was. Like, I knew it would be in London, but that was it. So yeah, it was a bit crazy. And obviously then it was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna play? I haven't played any of my new songs really. I've done like 3 gigs that are proper
Yeah.
kind of artist feeling gigs and not kind of cover stuff. I was like, what am I going to play? How am I going to play them? I want to play a couple of them with track because they sound better on piano or whatever. Like, how am I going to do that? I don't have a setup.
Yeah.
And it was all a bit terrifying, but yeah, just did it.
So that was the first gig with Live Nation?
Yeah.
Wow. And also because I've been researching you for a while now, I saw that you did a TikTok, sorry, back to TikTok, about women that you love, and you did this, I loved that. And you were like, these are the women I love. I can't remember what you said. And Sigrid was like on there. So you're a real Sigrid fan as well. So
I love Sigrid.
Oh, who
Sigrid? Oh my gosh. Like, I found Don't Kill My Vibe came out. And again, it's branding just attracts me. I'm like, I love that. It was when she did the whole, like, the block color, like the red, and the video was like this big red block, like material thing that had like hands coming through it. And I remember watching it, I was just like, that is so cool. And she's got this branding thing down to a T. Everything, it's Sigrid the minute that you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like kind of just coming through, and I loved it. And then like I've cried in my car to Dynamite more times than I want to say. Like, that song has a piece of my heart. And I just think she can't miss. And there's like obviously some songs that I prefer more than others, but like there's a load of those songs that I just think, wow, that is like, she's just got it. She's hit the nail on the head. And I went to go and see Sigrid right when I was moving into the more pop thing, out of the singer-songwriter thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to be. I saw a live show. I was like, that is the exact kind of show that I want. And then really the first big support I've ever done was her, which is a weird full circle.
Again, how
moment.
do you go on from that? Damn it.
Again, I literally said this to my friend the other day who supported Ed Sheeran on his like.
Woo!
Yeah, they're friends, and Ed Sheeran. No, actually, Cal. So a guy called Antonio, who was in that circle, Antonio Lulich. I've been friends with him for years. He was one of the first people I was like really inspired by at a gig. And he did the South American tour with Ed and played to like literally 100,000 of people a night. And I was like, how do you go from that? How do you go from that to not doing that anymore? He's like, I don't know. I still am trying to figure that out, because I sometimes do feel like, what's the point? Because that is a feeling you can't get back. And I get it, because even at that Sigrid gig, it was just so good. The crowd were amazing. Like, everyone was so on my side. Like, you were just amazing. But like, it was just the perfect show for me. It really, really was. Yeah. And that then you go, okay, this is what I live for. But then you're like, how can I do this more?
So with how can people get on those support, like, and booking agents? That obviously you wouldn't have got that show if it wasn't for being with Live Nation. So
yeah,
how, for artists listening to this, God, how do you approach booking agents, or do you wait for them to approach you? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I feel like the reason why there's never really any answers to this stuff is because there's never really a set route.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that till you're in it, and you're like, wow, how do I know all these people? But it's getting to know people, and it's taking any kind of introduction you can anywhere. Because Live Nation, I mean, as a promoter, like Live Nation are you don't have to be exclusive with them whatsoever. Like, it's like, there's Live Nation, there's Kilimanjaro, there's like X amount of other people who put on events, right? And Live Nation just are kind of the biggest, really. And it just so happens that I was introduced to Kelly, and she really backed what I did, and she believed in it. And as long as you speak passionately to everybody that you kind of get introduced to along the way, I think really that's the best thing and advice I can give, is that you've got to believe in yourself for other people to believe in you, and then you just need to find that person that does believe in you and that pushes you. I mean, she was saying she's pushed me for like X amount of shows like over the last few weeks before the Sigrid one, anytime that anyone drops out or anything, because she doesn't have that much control. It's agents who do control it most of the time. But that was a show, last minute dropout. It's her show. She's like, right, okay, I'm here to bring in people, and that's when you get your little in. So it's just making sure that you're in as many brains as possible, getting yourself seen by those people. And like agent wise, again, it was an introduction. I guess it's just like go to shows as well. Like agents generally are at shows, so going to gigs. If you know any connections, like obviously make them genuinely. If you don't like the person, then don't don't use them. But like just get to know people, because the best things come out of that. Artists, if they think you're cool, like will introduce you to their surrounding people, and then you get to know them. I was at a gig last week. I got again a last minute support for a girl called Isla. I'd never heard of her, but I was like, you know what, take it. Like it's a gig, that sounds cool. Turns out she's a huge writer, and like at the gig afterwards, like Maisie Peters was there, Jade from Little Mix was there, like Laura Aquilina was there. So amazing writers were there. There was a couple of great producers. Like there were loads of people in that room.
And do you just go up to them and be like, hey, I'm Beth?
Yeah, you've just got to own it, because that's what people are there for. Like they're going around being like, I'm here for a reason, whether it's to watch the music or more likely I'm here to get to know someone that might help me. And so it's expected in all of the ways.
So for your opening introduction to, i.e. Jade from Little Mix or Maisie Peters, whatever, just for people that listen, like, because I'm like this as well, this is completely out my comfort zone, but I do it. I'm like, I remember I spoke to Nina Nesbitt's manager at a gig, and I was absolutely pooping myself. And I was like, right, I know I have to do this. This is not something I do, but I have to. So I went over and I was like, hello. But I was quite young at the time. And I really had like 4 songs and they were not great. But I pushed myself to do it. And I was like, hi. I don't even know what I said to her. And then I gave her a CD, gave her my business card, left and just cried. Now I'm a little bit better at that.
Yeah.
But what, like, give us an example for someone listening. Like, what would they go and say to Maisie Peters?
I would say have a reason for going up to that person. So like I didn't actually go up to Maisie Peters because firstly I kind of already know. No, I kind of already know like her keys player. I'm gonna get to play keys for me. Like I know that like Tina, she's amazing, and like I love Tina. She's one of the best people, and I already know her. I'm really good friends with her. So it's like I know that down the line it's probably going to come a time where there's a crossover anyway. I have met Maisie at like a BBC introducing thing before, where I did actually go up to. She played a set. So again, it's like having an in.
Yeah.
If you're at a gig that they're at, you can say how good they were, and like everybody loves a compliment. Say how good their set was. Be like, I'm actually an artist myself, and like I love what you did there, or like pick a thing and then make a conversation around that. And if all you want is like a conversation just to make them aware of you, then that's kind of all you need to do. I feel like if it's in a situation where if it's a manager or a producer that you're aware of, obviously then you have a thing that you want to get out of it, which is that they know who you are and you want to get a contact. Generally, I go the Instagram route now. I'm like, okay, you're on Instagram, let's connect.
Okay.
And because everybody's on Instagram, I also do like, are you in London? We should go for a coffee sometime. I'd love to like have a conversation about like music and stuff and get your thoughts because I'm working on this. I know, and I know that's all very vague, but it's going to be so specific to each person who like is going up and what they want. You know, because I'll go up and I know that I want manager and I want a manager and I want like people to work with on production. So I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Kind of fill you in a little bit in a like a 30-second interval, like little moment. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing, and I'm just looking for a manager, you know, at the moment, and just trying to meet as many people as possible that might help in that way, or like that I could work with in some way. Just trying to do that at the moment. But it'd be cool to have a chat sometime if you've got any time, like to go for a coffee. I would love to chat to you about it. And that's kind of, I think, if you're really upfront about it, then there's nothing that can really go wrong. Because the worst that they can say is, oh, I don't really have time. They're not going to say that. They're probably just not going to have time. So they'll be like, oh, yeah, cool. And then you won't hear from them again.
Do you know, I could just tell you one quick story about when this has gone wrong for me.
Please tell me or how it's gone wrong.
And if I took your advice, then this wouldn't have happened, actually, because I was at one of those introducing live things, and what is his name from the Kooks? Main singer from the Kooks. Luke, I think his name is.
Yeah,
right?
Rings a bell.
And he was in a panel, and then I saw him, and I was waiting for a panel in the queue, and I saw him, and my brain was like, there's Luke from the Kooks. You need to go and speak to him. If I'd have just taken a second to be like, okay, what are you going to say? So I went up to him, not really prepared, and just like spieled a load of rubbish. And I think he thought I was hitting on him because his girlfriend was playing on the stage at the time, and he was like, this is my girlfriend. I was like, oh, amazing, she's so good. Like, I really wasn't hitting on him, but like I then felt
she's
like I was
so good.
so good. And then I said, I think I gave him my business card. That was it. My in was, let's have a writing session. But when I asked that, I was like, oh, do you ever do co-writes? Normally people go, yeah. He said, not really. And maybe he doesn't, or maybe that was his like, no, goodbye, random person.
Yeah.
But then that threw me because I was like, well, I don't have an in anymore. I don't have anything else to say. I should have just been like, well, nice to meet you. But I was like, oh, well, if you ever want to, like, here's my business card. And like, what did I say? Oh, can I have your email? Because giving someone a business card, I've been given business cards. I have like a stack of random people's business cards. They're never going to look at it again unless they're interested. He was not interested. So I said, oh, can I have your email address? And like got my phone out. I think that's pretty good actually to be like, oh, can I have this? Because you were under pressure then.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
You are.
And I thought he was gonna, and then he was like, well, I'll email you. And I literally went, you won't know. Because I knew he was lying.
Oh my God, Lucy.
And then he called, but I thought he might like the kind of cheekiness and be like, oh, fair enough, I won't. But he didn't take it very well, and he called me pushy, and I was like, I'm not pushy, no. Like, anyway, so it can go wrong. But yeah. Okay,
it can go wrong. Okay, and I do think this is worth noting because I feel like you're always, as an artist, you can be in those positions. Like everybody's always going to be X amount along to, so then to another person, you're going to be attractive to want to work with, right?
Yeah.
So like you'll be at a gig, you'll have people come up to you who want to work with you, like who have written, and yeah, you're not Luke from the Kooks, but like you're Lucy May Walker, and people are fans of you, and there'll be people who come to your gigs that are aspiring like songwriters and whatever, that are on a lower level than you, that would aspire to work with you, and you're potentially not going to be in a place where you necessarily want to work with them, right? Because we've all been there. Like I get messages a lot being like, I'm a DJ and or whatever, and here's some beats that I made. I would love like to collaborate with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
No.
That's not
Why
what
would
we
I?
do.
Why would I want to collaborate with you, random person? Like with you. So I get it, and it's like, I guess that is always a risk. I think it's just actually making people aware of your existence is probably a better route to take in that scenario, especially with artists. And like so, like Jade from Little Mix, I didn't give her my number or anything. I didn't like or my Instagram. She was in a group with, luckily, like Lauren Aquilina was there, who obviously knew her, who I do want to write with, and I'd already connected with on TikTok. So like I went and chatted to her. I was like, oh hi, she's oh my god, hi, like let's do that. There was another guy that was a producer that was more easy to talk to around her. And then Lauren was like, oh, this is Beth McCarthy, and she's like, hi, I'm Jade. I'm like,
I know.
yeah, but I played it so I was like, cool, oh hi, nice to meet you. And then like got in on the conversation a little bit, but I'm like, that's enough. Like,
Yeah.
because really, what can Jade from Little Mix do for me in that moment? Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
If Jade from Little Mix's manager was there, different story potentially. But her herself, even if I gave her like a card or whatever, you've got to kind of, I guess, evaluate the situation and figure out whether or not it's going to be worth doing, or if it's enough just to have your name. If you can get your name in their ears in some way, I think that's the best you can do, because at least that way, if you ever come up again in any scenario,
Yeah. Oh,
you were heard of, right? Yeah. So, and I think sometimes that is worth its weight in gold, because it's like, oh yeah, I know of that person. Like, it's like having your own reference, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's like, oh yeah, I've met that person there, or like I heard of that person, and then whoever they're talking to is like, oh, so she knows that person and that person and that person, and then you're in. Then you're kind of, you've got a little bit more of a thing. So yeah, that's what I would say about going up to people in those scenarios. If it's somebody like huge or whatever, just maybe try and make it so that your name's in the ears, unless you've got like people around them where you can be in on the conversation and have like a more friendly conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But try and make it about, try and give them something out of it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to.
Sorry, I think the compliment thing is a really good one, because I've had people message me before. This isn't in person. They're like, "Hey, can I support you at the gig?" And I'm a bit like, stroke my ego. Tell me I'm amazing. Tell me how you've always wanted to support me. Like, yeah, don't just go
Give them,
get what you want out of it. Like, give them something.
literally, what value can you give to them? Like, even if it is just conversation, even if you're just like, wow, that bit in your set was really cool, what made you do that? Like, because everybody's got a thing they do. Pick up on something. Be what's the word, I don't know, like aware of what they are doing, and then use that and make them want to talk to you.
Amazing. That's such good advice, Beth. Thank you. I have one last question to ask.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking a lot, aren't I?
That's okay. We can edit it down. Or I think we've talked about some really cool things, so I think just let's leave it long. So to finish off this podcast, the title of the podcast is Music Industry Secrets Spilled. So to finish, is there one secret or something that you think not many people know about, particularly in the music industry? Can you spill a secret for us?
I've been thinking about this.
Good.
And it's hard because the whole thing, I mean, I feel like the biggest secret is it's just not as deep as you think it is, and that no one really knows what's going on. Literally no one. Like, I'm learning that everybody I meet doesn't know what does what. Like, this whole distribution conversation that I've had, no one knew. I was asking people at labels, I was asking managers, I was asking booking. No one knew the answer. They were just like, meh. They all do the same thing, I think, but I don't really know. And everybody's sort of just trying to make it through. And the same thing, even like the big major labels are trying to make the TikTok even I can't say it, the TikTok thing work. Like they'll get their artists, they'll be like, you need to have more of a presence on TikTok and do these, and then they don't work because they're manufactured. And even they're trying to figure out how to like translate over what has happened for me and multiple other like independent artists on that platform. They're trying to recreate that because it clearly works, but it's really hard to recreate. It's just really hard to really know exactly what to do to make something like that happen. So you've just got to do what feels right to you. And I do think there is a balance between playing the game and staying true to yourself, because we all have that thing in us that's like, we just want to, we do music because we love it, because there's no other reason we could possibly do it. If you're an independent artist, you literally know it is like 90% of the time you hate everything and it's really, really hard. So we have to have some sort of love there, right? So you're not going to come across in any other way that you're doing it for any other reason, because you love it. Like you wouldn't not. So you don't need to prove that in being like, oh well, yeah, but I can't be on TikTok because like that's not true to myself. Like it's just a way to get yourself out to people. Just use it. Like even if it doesn't pop off, even if you don't put any focus on it, putting out like 3 videos a week of you singing one of your songs or singing a cover is better than nothing. It's creating more luck. Luck is what it is, but you create more of it. You create more opportunity for luck to happen to you if you're out there more, right? So you do that, and then if you want to focus on it, you've got to play the game a little bit. Look at what's popular, and then you interpret that how you will, and put what you love and what you are into what's popular. And that's what's worked for me now, is because everything that I've done, I've stayed true to who I am. All of the rewrites I've done because I felt like that perspective was one that I felt closer to than the actual one, or that I just thought it was fun. It was a fun little project. So the rewrites worked in that way. The songs that I'm writing, TikTok kind of works for it because it's all lyric led and people like lyrics. So it's kind of good for me. So you just find your platform that you love, that goes with what you love, and then just try and use that to your advantage, I think would be a big thing. The other thing I just wanted to add is just something that I got told right at the beginning, actually when I was on The Voice, and it's really helped me, and I just would want to say it because it's always helped me. It's the thing that's kind of got me through. Is I met this doctor. They send you to a doctor to get. I don't understand. It's like a doctor to the stars. He's seen like loads of famous people, like some kooky dude in like a 3-piece suit kind of thing, and he was really cool. I had to go with my dad because I was young, and we went, and he had like all the pictures of people on the walls. I can't remember who was up there. My dad will remember, but like there was like big names on his walls of people he's seen and treated. And I said to him, I was like, what's the thing that all these people have, do you think, that made them successful? Like, what's the key? And he was like, there's 3 things that I think you need to be successful. One is the talent and the belief in your own talent. That helps. 2, skin of a rhino, which goes back to what we were saying about our trolling thing. The skin of a rhinoceros.
Got it.
So you need to have thick skin. Yeah, to be able to, deal with all this stuff, because you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get trolled, you're going to want to quit. Like all of those things happen probably several times a week when you're doing this. And so you have to have thick skin. And the third one, which is the one that helps me, is the ability to deal with long periods of inactivity. So basically, there's going to be times where you're not doing anything and it's going to feel horrific, because I've had this like between releases, let's say, or like when gigs aren't as busy. We've all had the longest period of inactivity for the last 2 years. And being in that, it feels like you're not doing what you want to do. You're not achieving anything. Nothing's moving. But as long as you're still moving forward in your headspace and you're still making plans as to what you're going to do next, or like whatever, it's okay to have a bit of time where things aren't actively moving. There's like active and inactive. It doesn't mean that you're constantly, you're ever like not doing or growing or doing. It's just like that is how it goes. You release a song, then it'll go a bit quiet because you're writing. You're still actually working towards what you're doing. But it's taken me so long to deal with that, because I feel like I constantly need to be working towards something, and that means like having to actively do something, like put a song out or like be on social media or whatever. And actually having that time away, it doesn't mean you've stopped growing, and actually can sometimes mean that you're doing more of it because it's working behind the scenes and you're letting your music or whatever do the talking. And that really helped me. It's like, it's okay to not constantly be doing something. And they're the three things, and that's always helped me. So yeah.
That is a perfect way to end this podcast. Thank you so much. Like, I personally feel inspired now to go and just take all of your advice on board. So thank you so much.
Good. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.
This is so fun.
Good luck with the single,
Thank you.
which will be out. It's called If You Love Me, right? Yeah. And I'll post all of your links and stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Spill.
What a brilliant chat I had with Beth. I personally came out of that feeling so inspired and hopeful, actually, knowing that it can suddenly happen for you, and it might feel like it's out of the blue, but all those years working hard and hustling is you preparing for that big break moment. And I love what she said actually about creating your own look. So basically, the more content you post, the better your chances of being discovered, growing your fan base, and being successful. So yeah, I really hope that you got something out of listening to that. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast, especially if you got all the way to the end. If you want to check out Beth's videos on TikTok, her username is Beth May McCarthy. She also has a brand new single out called If You Love Me Right, which is out now on all streaming platforms. So give that a spin and please do support her music. Shameless plug for myself coming. Look, we all knew this was going to happen. I also have a single coming out on the 15th of October called A Matter of Time. I should say that properly. A Matter of Time, which I'm really excited about. And if you can pre-save that, I'll be really grateful. Or if you're listening to this and it's out already, please go and stream it. Save it, send it to a friend, and if you do like it, I do have some headline shows coming up at the end of October, so get yourself a ticket to that. Otherwise, I really hope that you like the podcast. Please do let me know what you think. If there's any guests in the future that you think would be really good for it, let me know. There will be a new episode coming out every single Monday, and I've got some amazing guests lined up for this series that I can't quite believe are coming on it. So yeah, give this podcast a follow. Check us out on social media. And I'll see you next week. Love you, bye.
Music industry secrets. Music industry secrets. Music industry secrets. Spill.